Voices go quiet when a massive orc with a terrifying aura begins to march right toward them. The mercenaries freeze in fear when they see the mid-boss charge at them far too fast for something that size, while Min feels nothing but excitement as he thinks about claiming the first balance stone. With the creature closing in fast, Yang-ho's jaw practically hits the ground, and he shouts at his men to run, while his own legs refuse to listen. Inching closer with every second, the boss swings its weapon straight down at the spot he just left behind. Once the dust settles, it looks like he barely got out of the way at the last moment, even though he was scared out of his mind. So our hero swoops in to save the day and not so gently hurls him aside. He asks Yang-ho why he froze like that, then tells the rest of them to stand the hell back if they still want to see their loved ones. The giant warrior orc steps forward like it's staring at its next meal and starts laughing at the loser lying next to him. So Min rushes the ugly beast to shut it up and drives his scythe straight into the middle of its foot. That sends the beast screaming in pain and it tries to stomp him flat, but Min just leaps back and builds aura while flipping through a second attack mid-air. He calls out the administrator for designing a boss that deals massive damage but can't do anything if someone keeps dodging. As the warrior pig lets out one more angry growl, Black Scythe finally gets sick of the noise and dives at it with his scythe ready like he's out for blood. After he lands the destructive skill, he drops behind it and keeps chipping away at its thick neck with fast, sharp strikes. Our hero finds it wild that the oversized piggy's neck manages to tank 2 full-power hits from him, but that thought fades quick as he jumps in again and hooks his scythe around its neck. Black Scythe then kicks off the monster's body and uses the force to slice that bad boy clean off. As he stands atop the body of his fallen enemy, the system rewards him with gold and a fresh pile of experience points. Yang-ho's men are left stunned that he actually took down the massive beast all by himself. Meanwhile, Min stays focused on his reward panel packed with solid drops, including a legendary sword piece that deals more damage than his netherite scythe, an orc's heart he knows will help forge a unique item later, and the balance stone. All the guys come running over like kids to their dad and thank him for saving them from certain death once more, though Min keeps it cool and tells them this is exactly why he told them to leave, which makes the boys melt and practically worship him. With that, he accepts a few well wishes from Yang-ho's crew and heads out. The group goes off to hunt again, but just then, Bandana Guy falls to his knees and clutches his chest, saying he can see his grandma's spirit. Yang-ho gets pissed that he didn't say anything earlier, and frantically tells him to hang in there using the power of anime and friendship until the timer hits 0. Bandana Guy reminds him they'll all die if they stop killing orcs and begs them to leave him behind, but the leader refuses and promises to let him last hit orcs like their league minions. As doom creeps up on the heavily injured player, he says he can't hold out any longer and collapses, sending the whole squad into a panic. That's when Min turns around, surprised that the mercenary king is this torn up over one guy, and figures they're probably just tight friends or something. But since the scene hits a little too close to home and reminds him of him and Juan, he steps in and offers to take a look. The guys ask him if he can really do something, but Black Scythe takes a look at the mangled arm and says he can fix it as long as it's still attached. Somehow using healing magic even though his class is literally the opposite of it, he completely stuns Yang-ho and the rest of the gang. Seeing their dumb faces, he tells them it's just a skill anyone can buy from the shop, and another guy says he never expected that 20,000 gold skill he saw would turn out to be this powerful. However, Min isn't actually telling the full truth, since the skill isn't much better than basic first aid, but his version ends up overpowered because of his mad high IQ of 123 and the Radiance rune. He tells Bandana Boy not to use his arm the wrong way again and to rest it for a while. The guy jumps to his feet and profusely thanks him for saving his life, before the rest of Yang-ho's squad joins in to show their thanks too. To express his gratitude, the mercenary king hands over a shiny golden stone, and one of his other party members offers a red one, followed by everyone trying to one-up each other with their own thank you gifts. Our hero tries his best to turn them down politely and says he doesn't need their trash, but they beg him to accept it as a token of gratitude, leaving him stuck in the middle of the village holding a bunch of sweaty second-hand gear. Still, he's far more interested in the real reward here, since he looks at Yang-ho and realizes he's gained favor with a pretty big fish by using a skill he already had. With that, he says goodbye and walks off like a boss while the peasants bow down to their king without question. Meanwhile, deep in the forest, Juri stares at the timer and freaks out that it's been an hour, and she still doesn't have a single orc to her name. She ends up crying at herself for stalking Black Scythe Senpai and getting totally lost on the way. You see, she found him pretty easily during the bonus game with the representatives before the round began, but she was completely stunned watching him slice through the others like they were nothing more than vegetables. After he wrapped things up and she finally managed to catch him alone, her legs gave out under the sheer weight of his riz, and she shut her eyes, telling herself she'd try approaching him when he seemed a little less terrifying. But the moment she opened them, Senpai was already gone, and it hit her fast that she had completely lost track of him like the air-headed fool she always is. Jury recalls how Min warned her back on Earth that taking out 300 orcs isn't a small feat since those monsters move in packs, and that's why she should never try fighting them solo, but instead wait to find Black Scythe once all the servers had synced. He also made her promise to wait at least an hour before reaching out to her senpai during the round, and now thanks to that warning, she ends up stuck in the middle of the forest alone. Realizing that Black Scythe probably won't return to the starting area anytime soon, she knows sitting there won't get her anywhere. So our girl rises to her feet with her mind made up and sets off, determined to find him no matter what. She moves deeper into the Crimson Forest, staying on high alert as she follows the path she assumes he took, and eventually comes across a village in a clearing. She thinks if it's an orc village then Black Scythe should probably be nearby, but she quickly scraps that idea, realizing she'd be toast if the orcs inside decide to pull a Goblin Slayer moment on her. Without warning, an ugly bastard materializes right behind her, and the second she notices, both of them start screaming in pure confusion at each other. But our girl isn't a wuss and immediately casts Bless on herself, silently thanking Senpai that it's alone and she already knows its weakness. Even though she's aware the neck is the only part not too thick to cut through, Jury worries that she's a woman with terrible aim, so her attack might end up hitting another player if anyone's nearby. Knowing it's game over if her sword misses its mark and gets stuck in its muscles, she gathers all her strength for one solid strike. Unfortunately, her aim fails horribly when the orc dodges, but Jury still manages to get away since she didn't bury her sword too deep. She keeps dodging the enraged orc's caveman-level swings until she spots an opening and charges in for the finishing blow without a hint of hesitation. The deep cut across its neck makes the orc cry out in pain, which only fuels Jury's confidence even more, so she drives her sword forward at mad speed until the orc's neck looks like a slab of Swiss cheese. The big bad orc crashes face first at her feet while she stands there, still struggling to process that she actually pulled it off. Right after that, a familiar dark-robed character appears out of nowhere. As she watches him walk toward her, she seriously wonders if she's high on adrenaline, or if the man she's been chasing all this time actually showed up and is heading straight for her like Jotaro. That pipe dream pops the moment he walks right past her like she's nothing more than a fart in the wind. Mustering every ounce of courage she has, Jury calls out to him. Black Scythe Senpai gives her a glance that basically says she has 10 seconds to explain herself before he leaves. Stumbling over her words, she blurts out a request for him to fight her, which makes our guy wonder if she's already lost her mind after dealing with one orc. She quickly corrects herself and asks if he'll team up with her instead. He tells her to give him one good reason why he should even consider it. So she practically shoves her unique skill in his face and explains that her Bless ability is the strongest stat buff in the entire game. Min gives her a pretend glance at his screen and confirms it like a bored pro, so she asks if that's enough to convince him to form a team in exchange for regular buffs while they hunt orcs together. Our boy flatly replies that he could just use his authority to dominate her and make her cast Bless whenever he feels like it. Jury's brain instantly short-circuits, and she starts sweating bullets until Min coolly adds that all he really wants is her promise not to betray him. She nods like a bobblehead and accepts the deal without hesitation. Black Scythe extends his hand to her as a sign of trust and introduces himself, and Jury introduces herself as well, calling herself the level 13 buffer, known as Democracy. He tells her she really doesn't need his help, especially after seeing how she took down that orc, but she innocently mentions that it was pretty much her only kill in the first hour and a half of the round. Taking pity on the clumsy lady, he promises to help her hit her target as soon as he can. As they walk toward the next village, he tells her to stay within his sight, and says that it is for her own safety. Noticing his subtle kindness, she thanks Min for the solid advice when a gang of orcs shows up out of nowhere, instantly sending a chill down her spine. Black Scythe tells her to hold his beer and relax as he charges at the three ugly fatties, slicing off their legs like he's preparing for a barbecue. One by one, he ruthlessly turns each orc into an amputee, and then tells her to end their misery. After that, as she stands there just staring blankly at him, he tells her to chop chop, so Jury grips her sword with hesitation and aims it right at the gobbler. While the experience points start rolling in, she ends up thinking that killing orcs actually feels way easier than she expected, mostly because of Black Scythe's help. Min just silently stares at her and tells the woman to either hurry up or get left behind while he walks off, leaving her to scramble after him. Later on, after some time goes by, Jury happily shares that she's taken down 52 orcs in just 30 minutes, though Min still thinks that's way too slow for his standards, even though he figures it's smarter to stay careful since Jury could get herself hurt if they end up surrounded during a village raid. He figures their best chance lies in an orc shaman, so he tells her that instead of dragging things out for 3 hours at their current speed, they could actually finish it all in just one. Jury looks confused as she asks the guy how something like that could even be possible, so he explains that all they really need to do is find an orc shaman who pretty much spawns orcs endlessly for them to farm. This way, they won't waste any time running around after stragglers, and Min completely stuns her when he casually says he'll just juggle the shaman along with his creeps to help her out. Right after, she tries to press him on how he could possibly know all that, but he tells her he's gone up against one before and adds that she's always safe when Daddy Black Scythe is around. That leaves her completely in awe as she starts thinking he really does seem a lot kinder than what her first impression made her believe. As this happens, when they finally get there, she asks if there's actually a shaman hiding in such a small village, to which Min replies that's exactly the kind of setup that gets most innocent players killed, since the shaman practically draws them in like flies. His mind flashes back to all the times he's seen orc shamans so clever they end up farming humans instead, though he knows he can twist that arrogance to work in his favor. While they walk through the quiet backwater village, he explains that most of the houses sit completely empty, and there's just one sneaky shaman hiding out in the big building with a pretty simple trap setup. The moment an unsuspecting player steps into that trap zone, the shaman spawns a whole gang of 10 or 20 orcs to gangbang them, which naturally gets Juri wondering how on earth she's supposed to keep herself from getting torn apart. Then Min decides it's the perfect time to mess around a little, so he leans in really close to her until she turns red and whispers a blazing hot plan on how she's going to fool the shaman. Feeling totally confident because it's coming from her crush, she promises she won't let him down, and even shocks the guy by saying she's handling it all on her own. So he pouts and tells her he's totally fine just chilling outside until she finishes up. And with that, Democracy steps into the house and looks down the long, pitch-dark hallway that stretches without an end. She slowly walks deeper and deeper inside until she finds herself in a big open room with a red carpet, and it clicks in her memory that Black Scythe had already told her about this place. Back when he explained it, he told her the red carpet room is where the shaman summons orcs to fully surround any player, so she should step on it and instantly yeet herself out. That'll make the shaman send scouts to check it out, which they can then farm. Thinking it sounds easy as pie, she bravely steps inches from the carpet, but before Juri even lifts her foot, the shaman fires a light spell and stares sheer death at her. Still, she's a strong, independent woman who doesn't hesitate for a second before scooting the hell out of there and slamming the door shut right in that creep's face. With her heart practically jumping out of her chest, she tells Black Scythe she pulled it off just like he told her to, and Min simply says that now all they have to do is wait for the experience to come walking right to them. Right then, the door creaks open ever so slowly, and a small group of orcs steps out to scout around for the enemy, only to get jumped and sliced apart in a clean sweep. He turns to Juri and tells her it's safe now, so after she finishes off the first fresh batch out of the oven, she asks him if the shaman is really dumb enough to fall for the same trick again. Min tells her the thing's dumber than rocks and probably has less IQ than a Logan Paul fan, but all her doubts just melt away the second she catches sight of his golden smile. A short while later, Juri finally hits the 300 orc mark, and Black Scythe brags about how it only took an hour. She keeps thanking him over and over for his help, but Min is clearly more focused on her level, which she reveals is 19, so he casually tells her she'll hit a rank up after just one more. He's honestly pumped about the new skills she'll unlock from the rank up since they'll make her even more useful to him, especially because he needs that extra edge to snag the world record on the boss. That's why he says he'll help her get to level 20, while Juri stays completely stuck in the delusion that he's just a genuinely nice guy, and awkwardly stands there like a maiden in love who doesn't want to cheat on her crush. Meanwhile, a group of 5 loud losers shows up and starts making a scene about how Daddy Black Scythe totally wrecked the orcs. Right then, loser number 1 tries to say hi, but our hero tells him to quit wasting time and just spit it out already. The guy explains that he and his crew only came to farm some monsters, but deep down he's losing his mind over how just 2 people managed to wipe out every single orc lying dead on the ground. Meanwhile, the other 2 start wondering how some random lady ended up teaming with the number 1 player, and immediately begin cooking up all sorts of creepy theories about how she won him over. As the budget ninja guy starts checking her out like she's one hell of a baddie, our boy slams his scythe into the ground and tells them to vanish from his sight. Looking pissed beyond belief, he says dudes with no wife and no life shouldn't be anywhere near him, since all they do is drain his aura, which really ticks off the headband guy. Juri starts panicking hard about what could happen if low-level players like them try picking a fight with Black Scythe, but our boy doesn't give them the chance as he swiftly dents the headband-wearing idiot's massive forehead. His quick little justice speech comes to a halt the moment he sees blood drip down the guy's face, and the loser squad wastes no time yeeting themselves out of there, deciding they'll just secretly spy on the farming method from a safe distance instead. However, Min already knows exactly what they're up to and plans to make kebabs out of them the second they try to steal the boss. As he returns to the real mission of getting Juri to level 20, the loser gang thinks they've put enough distance between themselves and starts debating if spying on Black Scythe is worth it to steal his farming method. They crouch in the bushes like they're in Assassin's Creed and wait, watching as 2 orc scouts come charging out and begin attacking him. As always, our boy doesn't think they're even worth drawing his weapons and decides to flex by hurling one of them straight into the other with a bare-handed smack. After that, he mashes them into potatoes so Juri can get the last hits. From the bushes, the loser brigade sits slack-jawed as it hits them just how far out of their league he is, though one of them can't help but wonder why he's not finishing them off himself, and the lady keeps going in instead. Their non-existent brain cells finally scrape together enough juice to realize he's clearly carrying her, and they all start losing it over what kind of deal she made to earn that kind of treatment. Seeing her stroll in and out like it's no big deal while still being way ahead of them drives them insane. But then one of them notices something doesn't add up. Every time she exits the hut, she's bringing back more orcs, which makes no sense because that many can't be in one tiny hut. One of them gets really pissed when he realizes they're hogging a spawner, but they all agree to just sit back and wait for them to leave since they're way too weak to pick a fight with the #1 player. Meanwhile, Juri checks her status and happily announces that she's finally hit level 20, picked up a unique skill, and even got an upgrade on her bless. When Min asks her to use it on him, his stats suddenly skyrocket by 60% instead of the usual, and she follows up with the new skill called Swift, which boosts both his movement and attack speed by the same amount. Our hero raises his eyebrows at how strong the effects are and says they should wrap this up by taking out the orc shaman next, then tells her to stay out of his way if she really wants to be helpful. As he glances over at the Gunner gang giving him dirty looks from the bushes, Juri keeps standing there with her usual cheerful cute face like nothing's going on. He quietly thinks to himself that watching their faces when they see what he's about to pull will be epic. As Juri quietly sits outside waiting for the next step, the Bush squad also notices that Black Scythe has actually entered the hut himself this time. Suddenly the door flies wide open and he charges out with a huge swarm of angry orcs right on his tail, all of them out for blood while Min looks ready to pull a quick one on them. Seeing our boy book it away from the orcs, Juri starts worrying that something might have seriously gone wrong with the plan. From the bushes nearby, one of the guys watches with wide eyes, shocked that even the legendary Black Scythe is running away scared, while his teammate thinks he is overreacting. Meanwhile, the orc shaman's staff pulses with ominous energy as it conjures 3 massive arms that pound the ground hard enough to summon orcs wherever they land. Meanwhile, Juri is at a total loss watching our boy get circled by orcs and briefly wonders if she should switch the plan and jump in to help him out. However, that thought disappears instantly after she sees him slicing and dicing orcs charging from all sides like a boss, showing absolutely no trace of panic on his cool, handsome face. Just then, the orc shaman summons another batch of 10 more orcs to add to the already massive horde. But even when Min finds himself standing right in the middle of monsters ready to lunge at him from every direction at once, he backflips out of there in style, leaving the party of stalkers completely speechless. At that moment, his teammate leans over and tells him to seriously stop fanboying over Black Scythe, because their target is starting to look super vulnerable. Suddenly, their creepy leader turns around with a freaky grin plastered on his evil face, and tells them it is time they should steal the kill while they still have the chance. However, his teammates get nervous and quickly express their worry they might meet the exact same fate as the orcs, but their leader smugly thinks even Black Scythe cannot touch them while the orcs keep him busy. Hearing that, one coward says they could always just pretend they were only trying to help out if he ends up getting mad. With that, they slowly sneak their way to the side of the orc hut, and Juri picks up on their weird movements, wondering what kind of shady plan they are cooking up. Suddenly, it hits her that they might be planning to steal the orc shaman while Min is still stuck handling the horde swarming all over him. The scene shifts to the past when Juri shyly thanked Min for helping her, though she still pointed out she is just dead weight holding him down, but he told her he already finished the main quest, and has one of the 4 balance stones, so he has plenty of free time for side quests. Then, he said he got one from the orc warrior and thinks he can collect more if he keeps slaying bosses, so she really does not need to feel bad for getting carried as long as he gets loot while helping her out. That is why she becomes absolutely furious when she sees a party of thieves trying to steal the boss that clearly belongs to Black Scythe. Juri instantly kicks into action to stop them before they manage to nab the shaman, but out of nowhere, the stealer party suddenly gets shrouded in total darkness, catching everyone off guard. As they stumble around confused, one of the guys quietly covers another's mouth to silence him, because they are standing right behind a scary monster that just noticed them sneaking around. The monster instantly spins around and starts making horrifying guttural noises that make it super clear they are about to get game overed. So, they run as fast as their rookie legs can physically carry them, but the boss blocks their escape path by trapping them inside a circle of orcs, just like it did with Min earlier. It is at this moment they finally realize they seriously messed up. An orc slices deep into the black-haired guy's shoulder, and then lifts him up into the air by his hair before slamming him down like a sack of trash. When he looks up, he realizes he is about to get his head crushed like a watermelon under an orc's foot, except this time, he is the watermelon. On the other hand, our boy finishes cleaning up the last of the orcs, then sees the very predictable result of his little test to check if the stalkers would try to steal the kill when he purposely lured the shaman out. Though, he feels zero guilt because these fools would have died anyway, since they wasted too much time hiding and watching him instead of just completing the actual main quest. With that, he walks straight to the orc shaman, who growls and sends his entire army of orcs making menacing noises at Min to scare him off. But our boy makes quick work of them, and notices that he feels a lot faster than usual thanks to a buff from Jury, as well as the rune of the Grim Reaper, which increases his attack speed by 50% at night, while also making him super hard to detect in the dark. All it takes is one clean slash from his scythe to chop the orc boss's head off. After dealing with the shaman, he racks up tons of experience and cash along with a pile of rare loot. But even though hitting level 33 feels good, what really gets Min hyped is a cracked old necklace called the Marble of Eternal Slumber. It gives him stat points for 100 stacks he earns when he slays 100 monsters, though the catch is, it loses durability with every stack, so it will break after giving a total of 10 stat points. Min figures it works a lot like the rune of absorption that Black Dragon used to have, but the annoying part is it shatters once he gets 10 points, all because of the durability condition. Still, he already has a fix in mind. He can grab the rune of durability during round 8 and hit up a blacksmith for repairs. If that works, then he lands himself a cracked infinite stats glitch. Just then, Jury calls out to him, wandering around trying to find him, since he basically turns into a ghost at night thanks to his rune's passive, which is as troubling as it is useful. Thought is, before canceling the spell that drowned those fools in darkness, he wipes out every trace they even existed, then calmly ends Night of Death. Just then, as the eerie gloom fades away like it was never there, Jury stops and blinks for a second, visibly confused, until she spots our hero and walks over fast, telling him how worried she was, but he just shrugs it off, saying he had some urgent business to handle. Hearing that, she asks if he somehow missed the party of robbing rascals who tried to steal the orc shaman while he was busy dealing with his summons. He innocently tells her he doesn't recall seeing anyone like that. The sweet girl looks completely thrown since she definitely remembers hearing their screams loud and clear, but our hero thinks there is zero reason for her to see what little of their bodies the boss left behind. After that, he tells her it is time to take down the next boss. Hours go by, and the two reach another village where Min causes another complete massacre. After wiping out the basic monsters and the archers guarding from the towers, he challenges the orc archer boss and gives it a death so brutal, it basically gets disassembled. He does not level up this time, but he bags 3 balance stones and a bunch of rare loot on the side. Opening his inventory, the first thing he checks is the agile archer boots that boost his speed, and they are miles better than the sad beginner pair he is still wearing. Next, he merges them with a green mana stone he has, which takes their agility stat even higher, and once he wraps up all the side bosses, our boy is finally ready to face the final boss. In this round, the final boss is a brutal beast called the High Orc, and the biggest issue during its fight is the strict time limit, so he has no choice but to speedrun. Thanks to the speed-boosting items, he remembers his best time across all past lives was 43 seconds, but now that he has a solid support like Jury who can buff him on command, he is pretty sure he is about to set a record that will be remembered in the history books. However, before that, he needs to level up his stats and keep slaying monsters to max out the stat-boosting necklace. As time ticks away, only 30 minutes remain until the round ends, and our guy takes a short break after reducing the last orc village population to 0. He still does not hit level 40 like he wanted, but he moves on since he has no more time to grind, and he is honestly satisfied after getting 9 stat points from the necklace, which now has just 1 durability left out of 1,000. As he turns around, Jury suddenly asks him why he is not out hunting orcs, and he tells her that he already has what he needs to fight the final boss. With that, he says it is about time they split up, and that she actually did a great job following him all the way here. As she shakes his hand, she feels a little sad, and briefly thinks about selfishly asking if she can stay with him until the final boss, but she realizes she would probably just end up getting in his way. At the same time, our boy finds it kind of strange how quickly she got attached to him, but he knows deep down that the High Orc fight is too dangerous to bring her along to. As a small parting gift, she gives him one last buff, wrapping him in a swirl of glowing green energy, and he thanks her again for helping out with the hunt, since she was honestly kind of a lost cause on her own before. Then, she opens her inventory and says that even though it is not much, she got a glowing blue crystal during the orc hunt, and she is giving it to him in case he needs it later. Hearing that, he tells her it is fine and she can keep it, but she insists and says the experience she got already is more than enough, while thinking to herself that she can only give him one since she is keeping the other one for Min. Knowing that she still does not realize he is actually Min, he figures she must feel like she owes him something, so he accepts the gift from her while saying she helped him too, and they are even now. After that, he turns and walks off with a satisfied little smile on his face. On his way to the boss, he activates his tracking skill to locate the High Orc and notes that no one has managed to defeat it yet, since he can still sense its presence clearly, though no one in any of his past lives ever succeeded in slaying it either, because the High Orc is one of the 4 bosses of round 5, but it is so ridiculously strong that the other 3 honestly feel like side bosses in comparison. Normally, it would take 100 level 20 players working together in a tight raid to take down the beast, and a solo kill is practically unheard of. As an example, Min himself failed the first 4 tries he made to take it down solo, but with multiple tries, he became powerful enough to speedrun the whole fight in just 43 seconds. Jumping from tree to tree like some kind of forest ninja, he darts toward the boss as fast as he possibly can, fully ready to set another unbeatable time record. At nearly 100 meters left until reaching the boss, he finally catches a glimpse of its massive body looming from behind the trees ahead. But his eyes go wide in surprise when he hears the scream of a blonde player getting crushed in the boss's fists. The high orc has a nasty look on its face as it holds up the crushed player, and the rest of the group starts panicking hard, wondering how things even ended up like this. Back then, this crew of players began asking around for others to join their party. The sword guy introduces himself as Junsuk and says that he is a level 12 warrior. Then a blonde guy steps in and says he is Braddy the Archer, while the hooded one blurts out a name that sounds like he headbutted his keyboard. They all joined for their own reasons, but somehow they ended up getting along way better than expected. The blonde guy tells the warrior to start taunting the orcs, and he jumps straight into it while the spear girl takes out another one in the back. With the unstoppable power of bromance, they go on an orc hunt that lasts for 6 whole hours. Every single one of them hits the 300 orc count, but Junsuk still feels bad about splitting up. He offers to keep hunting, and the gang jumps right back into the grind because they want to push all the way to level 20. They unlock a new skill after that, which makes defeating orcs as easy as taking candies from little kids. The hooded guy suggests that they should aim for something bigger next, but before they can decide, the warrior suddenly points at something in the distance. The blonde guy looks up and sees a towering monster, saying that it kind of looks like an orc while the warrior guesses that it could be a boss. The spear girl asks if they are feeling brave enough to take it on, and another player agrees, figuring that the reward will be worth the risk. He offers to split the loot evenly, and the others all nod without a second thought as they head out to hunt the monster. Suddenly, the two-headed beast lets out a loud roar that freezes everyone in place. It charges toward them and launches into the air while the rest of the party can only stand there like statues. It crashes down with a powerful thud, which sends shockwaves in every direction, but the spear girl barely manages to dodge in time. The high orc wastes no time as it swings his monstrous claw arm and turns the spear girl into ancient history. It turns its head and spots the other girl who tripped and fell just from feeling the monster's presence. The high orc slams his hand down like a hammer and flattens her into a pancake, and that is when the blonde guy figures out that this monster was never the prey in the first place. The high orc grabs the archer next and squeezes tight to crush the life right out of him, while the warrior can only stand there frozen in horror. The hooded guy tries to play the hero, but the high orc picks him up with its tail and smashes him into the ground like a rag doll, sending him straight to the next world. Junsuk starts sweating like crazy while he yells inside his head that he does not want to die and shouts at the monster to stay the hell away. He trembles from head to toe from sheer intimidation, but the high orc shows no mercy and raises his arm to crush him. Right then, Black Scythe appears in the air above the floor boss and comes flying down with his scythe ready. He slices one of the heads clean off, which makes the other one scream in rage, but our boy sends that one to the Shadow Realm as well. The monster's huge body crashes into the ground while the warrior tries to figure out what just happened. He stares at his hero in shock as our boy lands in front of him looking like a Dark Souls boss himself. Black Scythe is a little disappointed because he did not expect the high orc to go down in just one hit. And right then the system notifies him that he has reached level 40 and unlocked a bunch of new features. The damage and range of his Seal of Death skill both get a boost, and he also gains access to new broken abilities. He finally manages to unlock Moonlight Destruction skill, which turns out to be the only real attack skill his class has. Having just one attack skill is pretty risky since missing could mean disaster, but Moonlight Destruction covers a wide area which makes up for the risk. The skill is a mix of magic and physical damage, which means our hero can smack down enemies no matter what they are resistant to. He figures that this is going to come in clutch against the overpowered bosses still waiting out there, and he moves on to the next couple of rewards. Just then, the side quest also finishes up, and he unlocks the Rune of Balance, which is what he has been looking for the whole time. Our boy absorbs the rune into his body, and knows that it will only work right if he keeps all 4 of his stats balanced. That is why he always made sure not to let any of his stats fall too far behind the others. Once he is done with everything, he takes a peek at his updated stats and nearly loses it. After seeing every single one is now above 300, he is shocked because now the only thing higher than his stats is Snoop Dogg. Even though he knows that Jury's Bless ability and the round 5 buff are both in effect, our boy realizes that using the Rune of Balance is still the fastest way to get stronger right now, and then he goes on to claim the time attack reward. For defeating the round 5 boss in literally a single second, his time attack bonus applies to the boss as well, so he ends up getting a whopping 100,000 gold, which is the highest possible reward, and 4 times the amount he earned from his old 43-second record. Just then, the system informs him that he has set a new world record, and as a bonus for having his name registered in the Akashic records, he gets to pick one unique item of his choosing. Our boy is stunned reading that pop-up because he has never seen it happen before, and he honestly cannot believe the ticket will actually let him choose whatever unique item he wants. After opening his inventory, he taps on the reward, and it lets him pick from one of the 8 categories of equipment. Realizing the choices are pretty much unlimited, Min figures he should not pick a weapon since he is planning to craft one once he goes back, so he decides to go with a helmet instead. Meanwhile, the guy he saved just stands there, staring at him poking around in the menu, still unable to believe a single man walked in and obliterated the behemoth in one clean hit. Realizing that even a team of 5 level 20 players did not stand a chance against that boss, he starts wondering what Black Scythe's real power level even is. Still, he tells himself this is not the time to overthink and that he should thank his savior, but by then, our boy gives him one cold look and silently walks the other way, without a word. Later at the starting point, the angel descends and asks if everyone has finished their quests already, and she seems quite interested to see how badly the large number of players got shredded in this round. She laughs in amusement, knowing the players were too strong to be beaten by orcs, so it is obvious most of them were busy fighting each other instead. With that, she moves on to the results for round 5, where Black Scythe is in the lead by a massive margin, sitting at 15 levels above the number 2 player in the entire world. Everyone is completely shocked after seeing his level and that unbelievable time record. Hearing the players around him spreading rumors about how it should be impossible to hunt that many orcs so fast, he sighs because he only wants to claim his rewards and leave in peace. Suddenly, a bunch of system notifications start popping up to congratulate him for being first in pretty much everything, and that ends up earning him an epic necklace choice pack and a special reward loot box. Then, it congratulates him again for the absurd achievement of staying first for 5 rounds straight, and grants him the cool title of the one ahead of all others, which Min has wanted for a long time since it boosts his experience gain by 50%. After that, he opens his inventory to pick one of the 3 epic necklaces, which are not much of a surprise for him at this point, since he has used all of them in past lives already. He selects the Necklace of Java, which raises all of his stats, but the biggest perk of the artifact is that it gives him 35% resistance to every status effect. Plus, items with resistance on them are insanely rare in this game, so he can always sell the necklace for solid cash later on if he doesn't need it. Next, he opens the special reward loot box and finds a choice between tripling his experience in the 6th round, getting 6,000 gold, or obtaining hidden information on round 6. So while Min makes the obvious choice of triple XP for the next round, the angel suddenly starts clapping, much to the player's confusion, and then asks if anyone has even checked the rankings yet, because 1,600 people passed the quest, and that cannot be right. Out of nowhere, some of the players are engulfed by flames as the angel announces that every player ranked below 1,200 will be eliminated. The burning players beg for their lives, but she just laughs at the pathetic bugs who lack a spine, while our boy also laughs quietly, thinking she would probably be just as pathetic if she were in their place instead. Then, she announces that no one completed the side quests, until she suddenly pauses to correct herself and locks eyes with Black Scythe, who somehow is the only player who managed to complete them. With that, she bids the players farewell and tells them she will see them again in the next round. The scene shifts back to Earth, where Min relaxes at home after a nice dinner with his little brother the next day. Now that he has energy again after eating, he gets down to business and opens the combination window, where he chooses the Grim Reaper Scythe as the base weapon. Next, he adds the Orc's Heart, a mysterious wooden totem, and even the High Orc's Teeth as secondary materials. That setup alone would give him an epic rank weapon, but adding the black diamond he got from Youngmin will bump it up to unique instead. Once the combination is done, a cool-looking unique weapon called Death Scythe appears right in front of him, and it makes our boy so happy that he bursts out laughing, thrilled he has finally upgraded from his Grim Reaper Scythe, which honestly sounded a lot cooler. Then, he decides to use all his leftover money to buy general skills, starting off with Surrounding Search, which lets him see every player and monster in the vicinity like a mini-map. Secondly, he buys Dynamic Vision Enhancement, which boosts his eyesight in real time. And finally, he grabs Basic Resistance, which passively boosts resistance to all status effects by 15%, along with another passive that reduces the chance for his attacks to miss. Even after buying all of that, he still has 14,000 gold left and figures there is nothing else he really needs other than the epic item that is set to appear in a few days. With that done, he calls it a day and opens his status window again to check his stats, still impressed by how much the Rune of Balance has raised them, and the Rune of Slaughter is going to double all that power. Now that he is as strong as possible, he decides it is time to check on his business with Kyungrak Ma and then go after Young Min. However, he realizes he has no clue where Young Min even is, or if the guy is still alive. He uses track on him and manages to catch a signal, which confirms the guy is still alive somewhere. meaning Min can still put him to good use. However, he swears this will be the last time he bothers using scum like that for personal gain, before finally tossing him out like the trash that he is. The next day, Juri finds herself sitting in a fancy-looking cafe and she wonders why the rich boy wants to meet her again. In her mind, she starts drooling over all kinds of spicy scenarios, which makes her shake her head hard to clear the naughty thoughts out. Just then, Min walks into the cafe like he owns the place and asks if she waited long for him. Juri still feels a little flustered, but nervously offers to treat him, and our boy accepts the offer without hesitation. He gives her an innocent smile, and as she starts sipping her drink, she wonders where all these weird thoughts are even coming from. Min cuts in and asks how round 5 went for her, and she answers that she teamed up with Black Scythe, so it went surprisingly smoothly. She admits she thought she would be dead weight, but Black Scythe turned out to be really kind. Min reassures her that her buffs are very useful, and she reveals that this was the first time she placed second. That catches his attention and he asks what reward she got, which she proudly reveals is a mid-rank necklace that boosts agility, and then asks what he thinks of it. He tells her it seems like a solid item, and the shy girl then offers it to him without a second thought. Min tries to turn it down since she earned it herself, but she disagrees and says that Black Scythe carried her the whole time. He suggests giving it to Black Scythe in return, but she thinks that the item is too low level to be useful to him. Min tries to brush it off by saying he is not even a regular rank yet, which immediately grabs Juri's interest. He lies to her face that he is still stuck at level 19 and barely got through the last round. Juri figures that makes sense since Seer is not really a combat class, and just then, it clicks in her head as she asks how a Seer even fights, to which Min answers that he has some decent magic abilities. She kicks her brain into gear and realizes that the necklace does not really suit his class, and then suggests building up his intelligence stat if he plans to use magic seriously. After that, she summons a red crystal and offers it to him as thanks for all the help, which Min accepts only so she doesn't feel bad. Juri turns beet red and mumbles that he is always looking out for her, so she wants to repay him. Then Min remembers something and says he has something to give her too, which makes her light up. He then shares that he can give her a bit of info about the 6th round. Hearing that, her interest spikes, and the two get deep dive into the information. After they finish, Juri asks if he wants her to team up with Black Scythe again. Min confidently tells her that the guy will not turn her down now, as she proved herself with her powerful buffs. Juri starts to think deeply about it, and Min teases her that she looks like she really enjoys working with Black Scythe. Juri does not even deny that and says that he is a genuinely awesome guy. Then, she lists out all the bad features about the mysterious #1 player, while Min just sits there quietly enduring it. She finishes by saying that he is scary good at reading people, and it feels like he always knows what others are thinking, which is all thanks to the rune of thoughts Min's has. In his mind he knows that he is not a perfect guy either, and that so far, he has failed and died 99 times. The last run still makes him mad because of that messed up condition about needing a 5-player team to enter the boss room. He looks down and thinks that this really is his final shot, and he has to make it count with everyone this time. Juri snaps him out of it by asking who he is thinking about and if he is nervous about the next round, and Min admits that he is since he is a weak player. Juri says she wants to help, but feels sad that they are not in the same zone. Then Min playfully asks if she would help for free if they were. Hearing that, the shy girl starts getting awkward, and says she does not feel great always being the one who gets helped, and she wants to do something for him too. Min silently thanks her since her buffs are the reason he wiped out the High Orc in under a second. He tells her not to worry, and he is sure they will meet in the other world someday. She smiles and tells him to hang tight until she finds him, while he awkwardly raises a fist in the air, and quietly wonders how she will react when she finds out he is Black Scythe. Later, Min heads over to Kyungrak Ma, who instantly gets up to greet him. The guy puts an arm around him like they're close friends, and personally walks him over to the couch before telling Seongchul to prepare some tea. He starts sweet-talking like crazy and says that he will handle anything bothering Sir Min, which makes Min laugh a little at a big shot like him is trying this hard to get close to him. Kyungrak offers some dinner, but Min gets straight to the point, which immediately grabs his attention as he asks if this is about the next round. Min says that he will share that too, which makes the CEO smile from ear to ear. But then our boy says that he wants him to hold a shareholders meeting in return, and then explains that they need to change both the business type and the company name, which makes Kyungrak curious as to what he is supposed to do. Our hero tells the man that he just needs to support the proposals he brings up during the meeting and warns that there should be no pushback from the others. After all, Min remembers that the other shareholders were not thrilled about this idea when he saw it in the future. Now that Min has Kyungrak fully focused on what he has to say, when the man asks what kind of proposal he is planning, Min finally reveals the master plan that he wants to create a social open market specifically for players. Hearing that, Kyungrak looks a little thrown off by the unique idea and confirms if Min means they should build a website. Min explains that it would be a platform made only for players and used as a trading shop for items. Ma asks if they plan to add a cash payment option, but Min says that it depends on the seller and they can choose to trade instead. The CEO still looks unsure, but our boy tells him that some players will definitely need quick cash now and then. Right then, Min slips up and mentions there will be future opportunities which Kyungrok picks up on fast. Min reassures him that he has already seen the future where players above level 40 start trading items for gold. At that point, they unlock a negotiation skill that lets them exchange gold directly between players, so all they really need is a proper and safe site for the exchange. Kyungrok sinks into thought and realizes that this might not be such a bad idea after all. If it works, they will have full control over it. He asks if players would even use such a site, and Min tells him they already have tons of unused items from earlier rounds. Since players can't sell monster drops in regular shops, they are probably struggling to figure out how to get rid of all their junk. Most players have hit level 20 by now, which means they have likely unlocked the combine skill already, but having a site that lets them exchange materials would make things way easier. Kyungrok agrees that people would use it for sure, and starts thinking deeper that if the seer is right, this thing could bring in some massive profit. At that moment, his mind starts racing with ideas like launching an app version, or maybe adding an auction system later. Min sees that the CEO is slowly warming up to the whole thing, which works out perfectly for him too. If he manages to take full control over the synthesis ingredient items before they become popular, he could craft some seriously cracked equipment. Kyungrok finally nods and agrees to the plan while Min asks him if he has any ideas for the name. The CEO starts sucking up to him again, saying that Min is the major shareholder and his idea should lead the way, so Min comes up with the name Player Place. The man agrees it has a nice ring to it, and Min then asks how long development will take. The CEO answers that it should be ready in about a month, which lines up nicely with the end of round 6. That is when Min finally decides to give him the info on what will happen in the next round. After a quick explanation, Kyungrok figures that teamwork is going to matter a lot again, and thanks Min for all the valuable info. He thinks that keeping the seer close was the best move ever, because everything now feels like it is flowing smoothly in both the other world and the real one. Kyungrok promises to get the business running just like Min said, and will call the shareholders meeting as soon as possible. Min agrees to join it, and both of them get up to leave. The boss man tells Seungchul to drive Min home and to inform Aaron about everything that happened today, then sees our boy off. A few days later, Min climbs into bed excitedly because today is the day the epic item goes up for sale. He logs into the store and goes straight to the item of the day, which appears to be a fancy-looking shirt that boosts both attack and movement speed by a big amount. He buys it without a second thought while thinking that although 20 gold for an epic item is no joke, and soon he won't need to rely on the shop at all. Once that time comes, blueprints, which are basically instruction manuals for how to craft specific items, will start popping up for sale too. That way, people won't have to combine materials blindly and can even resell the blueprints for easy profit through the social market. Min drops flat on the bed and figures that the meeting has to go well for that dream to become a reality. The next day, the meeting begins, and the room is packed with shareholders as Min takes the stage and delivers an Oscar-worthy speech. Just as expected, there is some backlash at first, but he answers every question smoothly and manages to win everyone over. After the meeting, Kyungrok walks over and says he handled it like a pro, while Min just brushes it off. The CEO reassures him that he will handle the rest of the business stuff and tells Min to focus on staying alive in the next round. That makes our boy smile a little since the guy seems genuinely worried about him. With that done, the two decide to grab lunch since he has wrapped up all his tasks for the day. As Min walks off, he thinks that there is just one last thing to do now, which is to use Yangmin one final time. The scene cuts to the forum meeting, where Yami enters with her usual energy and greets everyone cheerfully, but the atmosphere of the group chat seems a bit off. A member asks if she has not heard the news yet, then tells her that Mr. 30 and the other guy are most likely dead since no one has heard from them at all. Yami finds it kind of dumb that they are acting all sad when they barely even knew each other beyond these video calls, but then it clicks that they are pretending just to look like good people in front of the president. She figures that they are trying to suck up to the emotional boss who feels genuinely sad when someone dies, and decides to play the same game. Channeling her inner drama queen, she puts on a fake performance that would make a grown man tear up, and the others start crying too, while Yami cringes inside at how fake it all feels and how easy it is to manipulate them. Then the chairman joins the call and asks why everyone is crying like they got attacked by onion-chopping ninjas, so Lost Yark sniffles dramatically and reveals the bad news, which also makes the chairman's mood drop a little, and he informs them all that now they are down to just 6 members. A long-haired player suggests they choose new executives, but the chairman shoots it down and replies that there is no one left who is talented enough, and even the 3 players they tried to recruit recently have gone completely silent. Lost Yark says he kept trying to reach them, but no one replied, which can only mean that they must have died in round 5. One executive disagrees and says that he is not sure about the other 2, but he is sure as hell that Black Scythe is still alive. He brings up the outcome of the last round to argue that Black Scythe is actually alive in the real world, which only makes the chairman more confused and anxious about why someone would ghost them after signing up to join their community. None of the executive members manage to give a solid explanation, with one brushing it off as a joke while another suggests that someone might have impersonated Black Scythe and ended up getting killed in the previous round. The chairman considers this theory, though before he can think too hard, a member who goes by the name Humble Mukbang throws shade by saying that a top-tier player like Black Scythe would never waste time joining their group. This hits the chairman right in the pride since he sees any insult to his glorious community as pure blasphemy. He built this group from scratch to guide and unite all players like a noble overlord. So, before Humble Mukbang even gets the chance to backtrack or apologize, the chairman kicks him out of the community for good and lets him know that he's on his own from this point forward. Once the poor guy is booted out, the rest of them carry on with the meeting, though it barely picks up when Lost Yark suddenly freezes after noticing someone else has just registered using the name Black Scythe. Everyone on the board turns to stone for a second, and Lost Yark quickly adds that this time the full name written is Ryu Min. The chairman tells them to go ahead and let him in, at least so they can check if he's the real thing. But just in case it's another stunt, he says they'll make Ryu Min regret it if he tries to play them. Meanwhile, our boy leans back after putting in Ryu Min's name and address, and wonders what the executive's next move will be, though he figures that the executives will definitely show up at the house soon for a little face-to-face. Though he mentions how he's not exactly a fan of a group that's out here murdering people and plotting to turn all civilians into their personal slaves. He steps out of the building while thinking that this kind of shady behavior will drag society into ruin, and there's no way he plans to stand by and let that happen. So, in his usual cold-blooded logic, he decides the best option is to take out the PCW community's executives and seize full control, since this group is only going to grow with more than 30% of all national players flocking to it in the near future. Our guy figures it's smarter to lead and keep everyone in check instead of wiping the whole thing out, so he plans to use the name Ryu Min as bait, draw the executives in, and wipe them out one by one until the chairman falls, which would leave him free to take the throne. Over at Jury's dad's little store, the front doorbell chimes and the old man glances up from his newspaper with a casual greeting, only to get a black bag tossed right onto his counter. A masked guy stands there and demands he dump all the cash into the bag. When the old man asks if he's a player, the guy slams his fist down and shatters the countertop to dust, just to prove he's not here to joke. Now fearful for his life, the poor man hands over the money from the register without a fuss, though the thug isn't satisfied and insists he hand over more. The old man tries to explain that their business has been struggling ever since the lottery got axed, but the robber doesn't care. He narrows his eyes and announces that he knows there's a safe hidden in the back. The old guy rushes to the back room and returns with every last bill he can gather, which adds up to about 10 million won. Before the thug walks out, he throws in one final threat and warns the man that if he dares to call the police, he'll make sure to come back and finish him off even if it means busting out of jail to do it. He storms out of the shop and pulls off his mask, revealing that the robber turns out to be none other than Ryu Min. He starts to hype himself up over the haul and considers it should be enough to keep him afloat for a month, but then his grin fades as he wonders whether he'll be able to make it through the next round the way he scrapes by in real life. His thoughts spiral and land on Black Scythe, who he blames for destroying all his stats and wrecking his friend group, so he swears that if he ever runs into that guy outside the game, he'll smash him into the pavement without holding back. He heads home and freezes the moment he spots someone waiting at his apartment door. He throws out a question to figure out who the guy is, but only gets more confused when the stranger asks if he's Ryu Min. He silently stares back in disbelief, and the guy takes that silence as a yes. Now clearly shaken, Ryu Min nervously asks if the stranger happens to be a cop. The man laughs and tosses back a question of his own, wondering why Ryu Min would even think that unless he'd done something illegal. He then introduces himself as an executive from the PCW community and points out that Ryu Min had signed up to join earlier that day. This only makes Ryu Min stare harder, muttering that the guy sounds like he's high since none of that makes any sense to him. At that moment, the executive now looks lost too and asks straight up if Ryu Min is actually Black Scythe, which pushes Ryu Min over the edge. He bursts out, asking if this is some kind of prank show and says he has no clue what PCW even stands for. After hearing that, the executive lets out a long sigh and turns to leave, though Ryu Min stops him to explain the situation. He claims that even though the name and address match, someone else must have used his identity to mess with them. Ryu Min demands to know who would pull something that messed up, when a masked figure suddenly steps out in front of them and calmly announces that he's the one who borrowed Ryu Min's name.